Kolibri Art Studio Europe, which is a kind of extension of the LA Gardena Kolibri Art Studio Inc. And since all the artists knew that brand, I got more credit as far as delivering them here and represent them here because they were unknown to Hungarians. I am Hungarian. I was born in Hungary, but I lost my citizenship. Then I became American for a long, long time. Then I regained my citizenship recently. At the time, there was heavy-duty communism still rambling through this part of this Europe, and they just exiled out. Anybody who left in the early 70s, they withdraw the citizenship, and even you got sentenced for like 2 years and stuff like that. Bad. The childhood was organized. It was safe. We got good food. A lot of exercise. They made us running. They kept us healthy, but that's about it. I just wanted to try a better free life, and later on I wanted to advance to the American dream, which I think I did. There was 2 passports issued by the Hungarian government: a red passport, red face or colored passport, or a blue passport. The red was good enough to travel to the so-called socialistic, communistic countries, and the blue was for diplomats or entertainers. They can travel with a blue passport to the West. At some point, Yugoslavia entry was authorized by a special insert into the red passport, and the Yugoslavia-Italy border was not so heavily guarded, whereby the Austrian-Hungarian border would be where they had mines and barbed wires and guards up to the neck. It was heavy-duty Cold War, yes. That was a time when times were very, very strict and controlled. And we just crossed illegally to Italy.
How about yourself?
I had a gentleman, a guy with me, a little bit older, and he had the same idea. So we left together Budapest, and we arrived to Italy throughout a huge mountain we climbed, and we figured out that you can go 1 hour, you can go 4 kilometers north, and then you go west 4 kilometers, then you go south 4 kilometers. Then I noticed that I had some Italian cigarette butts and chocolate wrapping in Italian on the ground. So I said, wow, I'm in Italy. It was well known at that time that you need to register at the local authorities. You have to ask for asylum, which we did at the first major Italian city's police station, which was in Trieste, Italy. And they took us regular fingerprinting, photo, and go through the process, and they gave us housing outskirts of Trieste in a nice compound. It was like a project type of little village. They had waiting camps where you need to get a sponsor of several countries: Australia, Canada, Sweden, maybe Germany. But US, they were selective, and some people were staying there for a year or year and a half. And I was able to get into that first selection. But before I did that, I went further. I left Italy, and I escaped to France from Italy. And I got political asylum from city of Paris, which was installed hundreds of years ago. Whoever reaches the city of Paris, they can apply for political asylum, which I did. And I wanted to be a Frenchman. I learned French. I spoke quite well. I read and write. I had a French girlfriend. I had my little apartment, my little housing, but my heart was always for the US. That was a time when the same people who were with me at the Italian refugee camp, They were already in New Jersey, and they sent me a postcard with a yellow Mustang on it. And I was washing dishes on Champs-Élysées, and I just threw the towel in, went to the U.S. Embassy, and asked for an interview. And since I got political asylum already from France, U.S. took me in 3 weeks. I was in New York. In 1973, right after Paris, the beautiful avenues and boulevards, I'm in New York, and the manholes are like the smoke is, or the steam is coming out. It is August, and the humidity was 120. In the middle of the night was dropping. That was quite a bit. It's a little bit culture shock, but I adjusted well. I liked that everybody speak English and everybody's laughing and they say hi to you, and I enjoyed it, even the first time. Agencies, they take care of you. So they issued you some daily cash, you get metro tickets, you get referral to jobs, and they provide you room and board at some point. And everybody was taking advantage of this. This is a great way to start. And then you are on your own, and we figured out the steps. I met some other Hungarian salami shops. They had restaurants, and then you just find connections and you try to fit in some point. And a good friend of mine who just recently passed away, unfortunately, Peter Saleh, he took me to Boston. I lived in Boston for a year and a half and worked in a electronic manufacturing firm, manufacturing Boeing parts. Then the postcard came from California again, another postcard. California is great, and you should come out. So I packed up together, and with another friend of mine, we drove the country and landed in LA. I worked in a night shift, and I was getting $4.60 an hour. We writing 1973-74, an LP cost $2. A carton of cigarette was $4. You could fill up your car for $6. So that was quite a bit of money. And we were saving and was able to buy a car like in 6 months. Just went to a dealer. I was surprised. They gave me a car based on my paycheck. And I drove out a Firebird. That was my very first car in my life. It smelled new, and I never forget that feeling. Everybody had American girlfriends, and that's where you learn English. You learn English on the sheets. In the 70s, we had a hippie style. I had a hippie hair. I was very thin, and a lot of Vietnam jackets and a lot of hippie stuff. Then came the John Travolta style. You like that one? The same people who invited me or kind of coached me to come, they lined me up with a telemarketing company, which I got hired, and I worked my way up, and that's what I did for about 15 years in LA. Being a telemarketer and just a young guy, our life was pretty stable, successful, and we were generating pretty good income. I was able to buy a nice house in Beverly Hills. I was able to buy a Ferrari, age of 30, something like that. I progressed to be a company owner. We had a telemarketing company. We had 30 to 40, 50 people working on a phone room, boiler rooms. But interesting story, I had Guns N' Roses working there. Michael McKagan, the bass player, his name is Duff. He was my sales manager for a year and a half. Duff came to me and said, Bernard, lend us $5,000 for the first record. They had 5 more investors. You know, I really love you guys, but it's not my, it was stupid of me. And a year later, they were the opening band at the Rolling Stones, LA Colosseum. I bailed out from a telemarketing business. I was able to just leave it and move to Hawaii. That was about 150 Hungarians in Honolulu. We used to get together and celebrate March 15th, August 20th, and of course 1956 uprising, celebration October 23, Christmas, so forth. Used to get together the people, and we used to do like a potluck type of events together. Even organized a Hungarian soccer team. And we lost every single game. Then I started to realize that why don't I get some players from other countries who also live in Hawaii, like Greece, Serbs, Russians, Czech, Germans. So we made like a European team, and then we started to win. And you should see this, 9 o'clock. Nice couple with little baby, Americans, walking with a coffee in hand, donut. Comes the Hungarian Surkolo, comes the Hungarian with 20 Budweiser at 9 o'clock. So after leaving Hawaii, which folded for various reasons, I moved back to LA and started the corporate life again. I got hired by a music software company. I was traveling 2-3 months out of a year, fully. A lot of little motels, holiday in the Motel 6. Then I left this company, Medisoft. I was looking for a job, a management job, and I find a company called Kolibri Art Studio in Torrance. And I got hired, and then I got involved in this beautiful pop art. I became a general manager of this company. It's a fine art print studio, atelier studio, small, 10 to 15 people, but I wore many hats. And I was doing the HR, the hiring, the firing, the troubleshooting, the customer service, the pricing, the selling, everything. There was 4 people doing my job. And I said, look, give me a chance, pay me a little better, and I can do it better. The owner loved it, and the company became successful more. And then I went to the top that I was producing prints for celebrities like Anthony Hopkins, Bob Dylan. All these artists, what you see here, this is all printed by Kolibri Art Studio. And I was traveling back and forth that time with my wife, and we were looking for a house in Budapest. So the company didn't want me to go. They always extended my stay and gave me a little more and gave me a little more. And I asked my wife, you want to stay? So we had 2 houses for like a few years. I formally retired and left LA in the summer of 2019. And I already had a plan that we're gonna sell high-end collectible prints, which sells well and does well in the States and other parts of the globe, but not in Hungary. It didn't exist. We're trying our luck with it, and so far so good. People adopt it. It's very bright. It's big sizes. Pricey a little bit, but people like Tom Hanks, Jennifer Lopez, Morgan Freeman, they buy it. So why not a Hungarian buy it? I'm happy here, very happy, and I'm kind of proud that I'm American, and also I'm proud that I'm Hungarian. First one I would name Romero Britto. He calls himself the happy art, which builds on cubism, a little bit of graffiti, street art, with big bold colors and a lot of hearts and smiling faces. He's the most commercialized artist on the globe. He's on every Disney product, on Evian bottles, on Coca-Cola bottles. My second artist, which I really favor, would be Shag, a Southern California artist, Josh Eagle, a little bit sarcastic, humorous illustrator type of artist who does the 60s, 70s, 80s American Southern California lifestyle he features. The third artist I would say would be Charles Fazzino, a 3D dimensional artist from New York. His work is exceptional. His work can be found in every living ex-president or president houses, for example, very well known. And he started with Andy Warhol. And the last one I have here is James Rizzi, who just recently acquired. He passed away in 2011. He was the first one who made the famous New York skyscraper, laughing sky. He made faces to skyscrapers. And that's what he paints. They are all modern, happy art.